Warren, I suspect that wonderful fragrance of freshly made coffee announces our familiar Thursday evening custom, eh?
It does indeed, Eddie. And tonight, in appreciation of her lovely voice, I'm going to serve Connie Boswell the very first cup of steaming, fragrant Maxwell House coffee.
Thank you, Warren. Drinking a cup of Maxwell House is simply carrying on an old Boswell tradition.
And an old American tradition, Connie, because every Thursday evening, when we pause for this friendly Maxwell House custom, thousands of people all over America pull up their chairs and join us in a cup of this coffee that's good to the last drop. And now, with our coffee, let's enjoy the music of Meredith Wilson. Music as rich and mellow as Maxwell House itself. Meredith? In just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with all our regular cast, and in addition, we will bring you a preview of that fine Paramount picture, The Great Victor Herbert, with Allan Jones, Mary Martin, and Walter Connolly. In the meantime, we pause briefly for station identification.
It is now time for our friends in New York to bring you their part of good news. Maxwell House takes a very real pleasure in presenting a radio preview of one of the most satisfying films of the year. It is Paramount Pictures' grand musical experience, The Great Victor Herbert. You will hear the thrilling voice of Allan Jones, the charming and appealing Mary Martin, and a really moving performance by my friend Walter Connolly as Victor Herbert. And those three fine performers will sing and play the same roles they do in the picture. They're in Radio City now, waiting to bring you a glimpse of this dramatic story together with its glorious music. For tonight, let us take you back, not too many years ago, back to the days when the Charleston was the dance sensation, when crossword puzzles were beginning to replace mahjong. And in a changing New York, one landmark has remained unchanged, Lushaw's restaurant on 14th Street. And tonight, more than ever, Lushaw's is a symbol of gaiety and goodwill and sentiment. Green and white streamers swoop from the ceiling, and the chandeliers are glowing with good fellowship. Well, this is no ordinary evening. Tonight, the town has turned out for a brilliant revival of one of Victor Herbert's famous operettas, and a group of the great composer's close friends are gathered together to do him great honor. And so, of course, the rafters echo to a toast sung to one of Victor Herbert's own bright melodies. We take you back to Lushaw's restaurant in New York, and the first speaking voice you hear will be that of a grand actor, Walter Connolly in the role of Victor Herbert. All right, New York.
Bottoms up, bottoms up, bottoms up. Raise your glasses high and we will toast His Royal Highness. With happy days of happy heaven, like the morning after. Happy days, happy days, happy days. To a fellow artist whom we love for all his kindness. With a hallelujah cry.
Thank you all for being at the theater tonight. And thank you for giving me so many memories, so many treasures, so many wonderful friendships through all the years. May I share one of my memories with you now?
Yes, of course.
Well, it all began on another of my birthdays, some 15 years ago, before Broadway tried so hard to imitate Coney Island. The days of Rectors, Delmonicos, and Shanleys. The days of lovely Lillian Russell and genial Diamond Jim Brady. The Gibson girl was all the rage, and stereoptic and slides were the parlor fad. Those were the days when this story began. It was my birthday, and I was at home working on a new operetta. Then, somewhere a band was playing, and Mrs. Herbert called to me to come quickly to the window. I threw it open, and around the corner on West End Avenue came Gilmore's 22nd Regiment Band, with a gay crowd following it. They hadn't forgotten my birthday. Just as they'd done for many years before, they formed a parade and headed for my house. when I brushed the tears from my eyes, I saw that standing in a carriage at the head of the parade was one of the brightest stars that ever sang a note on Broadway, John Ramsey. You all know John. He grinned at me and waved his hat, and he stood there in that carriage and held that throng and me spellbound.
Oh, sweet mystery of life, at last I found thee. Oh, at last I know the secret of the world.
Then John Ramsey reached down into the crowd and drew a slender, dark-haired girl up to his side. She was frightened, but she stood right there in the carriage and sang with him. And the two of them were beautiful to hear. I didn't realize then how hectic John Ramsey was going to make things for me, or that girl. For weeks afterwards, John hounded me to give her a part in the new operetta. Her name was Louise Hall, and John was convinced she'd be a great star. I kept telling him I knew the girl could sing, but she had no stage experience. He brought Louise to my office, to the theater, even here to Luschau's, trying to convince me he was right. Then one night, I was giving a concert in the Bradley Davis mansion out on Long Island. I was especially anxious that night to have the Bradley Davis guests approve the duet for my new score. John and our prima donna, Marie Clark, had rehearsed the duet for days. So after our first selection, I announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, the next selection will be a duet from Eileen. I take great pleasure in presenting the Broadway star and your favorite, Mr. John Ramsey, who will sing with Miss
Louise Hall, Victor. Miss Louise Hall.
Oh, John, I'm scared.
Come on, Louise.
You'll answer to me for this, John.
If you'll play, Victor, the audience will answer to Louise.